If you are feeling terrified to date again, thinking, what if I fall for it again? This episode is going to give you what you need to understand why successful women lose trust in themselves after narcissistic relationships and how to regain it back. Being outside of a narcissistic relationship and having done some awareness around what that was can often give you this painful clarity of exactly how the manipulation worked and how long you allowed it. In addition, from likely feeling some amount of relief from being out of that relationship, it's also really common to feel terrified and broken, thinking, well, if I fell for it once, what's going to stop me from falling for it again? And especially if you are thinking about wanting a healthy relationship at some point in your life, that's going to involve dating again and putting yourself out there. And if you're not trusting your own judgment or instincts or sense of what's real, that can put you in a really scary spot as you think about how to do that in the future. If you're here and you know that you do eventually want to be in a healthy relationship, but right now you just are not trusting your judgment or your instincts or your sense of what's real or not real, which is actually really counter to how you show up in your business life, right? You've relied on these things to make you really successful in your business. But in the relationship department, it is feeling specifically terrifying. And it's also making you a little bit confused of why can I do this in business? And I feel so scared about dating in my romantic life. If that's you, you're in the right place. Because it's my intention from this episode today to really help you understand why that looping in fear and self-judgment is keeping you stuck. I want to help you understand what it is that's really causing you to feel so broken, to feel like you have a bad picker, or you're just going to be stuck in these relationships forever. And I want you to leave today knowing exactly what you need in order to be able to trust yourself in relationships again. And be sure to stick around to the end of the episode. I always pull an oracle card, and this offers a message that you can use to sit with this week in your healing. So let's take a deep breath together and begin. I'll never forget this client who came to me, and the first thing that she said was, I need you to fix me and fix my picker. And she had just come out of a 20-year marriage. She was in her 40s. She was able to look back on this marriage and see all of the pieces. She was putting together all of the pieces of the puzzle of how the manipulation really started from day one. She was looking back in hindsight, and it was just blowing her mind. And she was stuck in shame and judgment around having fallen for it for 20 years. She really could not get out of that loop of, I should have seen it. How did I not see it? Looking back on it, it looked so blatant. And she was really, really in that, like, beating herself up around, I should have known better. I should have been able to see it. I should have been stronger. She felt broken. She believed deeply in her core that this was how she was, that this was her problem, and that she was always going to attract this type of person, that she was sort of set up inevitably or fated to always be with a narcissistic person. And she was in her 40s, and so she wanted to be able to do this work to eventually date again. She wanted to have a healthy relationship. Sharing her life with somebody was really important to her. But she was so afraid. She was so afraid of, what if I actually am broken? What if I start doing this work and it confirms that I can actually never be fixed? And so she was sitting with that. She was sitting with feeling broken. She was sitting with the self-judgment and the self-blame. And really, there was so much mistrust. Again, with being able to look back in hindsight, she could appreciate that she could pick out the places that she had felt her intuition in those moments and then ignored the intuition for whatever reason. But she also had this argument in her head, okay, well, if I can look back and see, that's great, but that's not going to help me when I'm in the moment with somebody. So how do I get into another relationship and be able to see what is presently happening and not have to wait another 20 years to look back and then be able to pick it apart in hindsight? So much fear around dating again. So many limiting beliefs around the person that she was, what she believed was going to be attracted to her, and really was stuck in that loop again of the self-judgment and the fear. Maybe you're in this place too. And I want to talk through what happens when you're stuck with these internal beliefs. What is happening in your external world when consciously or subconsciously you're living in this self-judgment and this fear and this mistrust. So when you're stuck in shame, you're likely hearing those voices like, it's all your fault. How did you not see it? And this is looping all day long, like random memories or random experiences come up that make you think about something that he did or said. And it's just like, oh my God, I believed his lies in that moment. Oh my God, I didn't set the boundary there. Oh my God, I didn't speak up. I didn't leave. And it's laced with judgment. You're not coming to those thoughts with curiosity. It's really, really just laced and weighed down in self-judgment. That verbiage even, this is all your fault, right? That you are so conditioned in the relationship to believe that everything was your fault. So I understand why that part of you is really focusing in on that self-blame. But when you're stuck in that, you're stuck in the looping of the thought of that part of you, it keeps you from processing what actually happened. If we're stuck in self-judgment, we cannot access compassion. And we need compassion in order to be able to have some curiosity around what happened. And when we can find curiosity, that's when we can find the healing. So self-judgment is really that, it's like a bodyguard. It's a bodyguard that is standing in the way of you being able to move deeper into the experience, to feel through it, to find curiosity, and to shift through it so that you're not, again, stuck in that loop. The other experience of feeling really broken. This, when we feel broken and we feel like we need to be fixed or that something is wrong with us, it has us play small. And just like my client who was also feeling really broken, that experience of feeling broken can have you really quietly deciding that you're not going to let anybody get close until you have fixed yourself or until you have figured out what was wrong with you. And just to again, normalize this part of you, you have been conditioned in a manipulative, narcissistic relationship to believe that something was wrong with you, to believe that you just need to keep fixing in order to make things better, right? You take a lot of self-responsibility, a lot of self-action. If something's wrong with me, then I can fix it. And that feels like a safe place. So it makes sense that a part of you is going there, is believing this thing. But when you're stuck in that feeling of being broken and I need to fix myself, what are you doing in your life? You're hiding, right? You're avoiding situations. You're playing small. So this can look like, of course, not getting on the apps or not going out for a date or saying no if your friend's trying to hook you up on a date. But it could also look like canceling plans on your friends. Maybe your friend invites you to a group trip or to just a dinner party with new people that they're trying to connect each other with. And you say yes, and you're like, I think I can go, I think I can do this. And then last minute you cancel plans. And then you feel some shame and judgment around canceling plans. You feel guilty in the fear that you upset your friend. It's starting to bleed out into more ways than just dating. Maybe even at work. Normally you are like a really confident go-getter, I'm going to try new things type of person. And maybe you're being offered to do new projects or to take on another responsibility in your job. But there's part of you that's like, I don't want to be vulnerable. I don't trust myself to not fuck it up. And that subconscious belief that I'm broken, something's wrong with me, it's starting to infiltrate out into these other places of your life as well. What I'm about to say next is not going to blow your mind as new information because you are feeling this on a day-to-day. But protecting yourself from being seen or doing something new or being vulnerable and staying in that loop of self-judgment is not helping you progress, right? This doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to stay in these states all the time. Again, I really want to normalize why you are believing these things that you're believing after a narcissistic relationship. There are so many ways that you are conditioned to believe that it is all of your fault, that you are the broken one, that he is to not have any accountability or to be taken responsibility for anything. And it's repeated practice of having those emotions, having those feelings, those thoughts, and then acting on them. So you are just conditioned in one way of thinking and believing. If you're believing that you're broken and that you can't trust your own judgment or your instincts, and that you are going to inevitably get into another narcissistic relationship, you of course are going to want to try to avoid any situation that's going to put you in that pain again or confirm those beliefs. There's a lot of that self-shrinking, that isolating, that kind of turning inward in the shame and the judgment and the embarrassment. And you do that with the intention of, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to fix this. But oftentimes what happens is maybe you read a book here and there, or you listen to a podcast here and there, but then that shame gets so big and so loud that you just kind of further stick your head in the sand. And then it just turns into this avoidance of people and situations, and also avoidance of processing what happened with your narcissistic ex. Then you're 3 years down the road and you're stuck in the same exact place. And when you wake up in those 3 years down the road, not only are you 3 years older, especially if you want to be having kids or starting a family, but you've been living in a day-to-day experience, consuming hours of your day, days of your week, weeks of your months, months of your years in this place that's not actually helping you process the pain. And it's definitely not giving you the tools that you can use to change the way that you are showing up in relationships, to shift the patterning that you've learned since childhood, to shift your nervous system patterning so that you can show up in triggering moments, so that you can be in a healthy relationship. So you're exactly where you are just 3 years from now, with also the shame and judgment of the compounding loss of time over 3 years. If there's one thing that you take away from today, I want you to really remember that self-judgment is the bouncer that keeps you from moving down into the experience to find compassion and curiosity and relief for what the parts of you are holding from this experience. Relief from the emotion that feels stuck on a loop. So if you can't get down to that place, you're going to stay up with the bouncer. That self-judgment is going to run the show. You're going to continue to isolate from vulnerable experiences. When we are in that compassion place, that's how we begin to rebuild self-trust. So when you get past the bouncer, and when you're in the practice of meeting yourself in your own emotions, that is how we rebuild self-trust. That is how we get to understand ourselves inside and out, understand the situation, the relationship that you were in inside and out, understand what are those individual red flags that I felt, that I knew, and how do I take all of that information and integrate it into wisdom to use in the future. We have to first be able to get past the self-judgment. So when I work with clients, we're working on a nervous system level to be able to regulate your nervous system through feeling these emotions that feel big or feel foreign or feel like, I don't want to go there. I don't want to process this shame. I don't want to process this anger. The nervous system regulation tools helps us do that in a safe and efficient and effective way. The nervous system tools with the group space of women who all understand, this group of women that I curate in this container are so beautiful because they show up non-judgmentally to what you're sharing. And it's a practice of receiving and giving and being met with, girl, me too. I am here right now, or I was here last Tuesday, or I moved through that a month ago. Let me show you the way. And it is such a shame reducer because it's in connective experience with other people. Narcissistic relationships create relational wounds and they create isolation. So what we need when we're coming out of those relationships is connection with other people who understand, with safe people who understand, who can witness you, who can validate you, who can hold you as you are processing through a mindfuck of emotions that come out of these relationships. It gives you the space and the tools that you need to really direct your focus inward to yourself, to be able to rebuild your self-trust and to retune your compass. When you can do that, it helps you to stop the endless cycle of self-judgment. It helps you to be able to move through that fear of, what if I fall for it again? What if I end up in another narcissistic relationship? It helps you to rebuild the self-trust foundation that you need in order to date from a place of confidence and worthiness, so that you can trust yourself to know, A, when you're ready to start dating again. And when you do start dating again, you trust yourself to be able to decipher the data that you're gathering while dating. All of that comes from a place of self-trust, which again comes from being able to move past that self-judgment so that you can come into self-compassion and curiosity and healing. You have spent so long in a relationship that has kept you in survival mode, in discounting your worthiness, in second-guessing your confidence, in feeling really confused why you feel so confident at work, but you show up in relationships and feel like you've lost yourself and your tools and your self-regulation completely. These relationships do a number on us when we come out of them. And so it makes complete sense that you are terrified to get into another one and don't want to get into another one, and that you want to be really aware and educated on what to look for. But none of that stuff is going to work if there's not a foundation of self-trust. So getting to the place where you can actually rebuild that is going to have compounding positive effects on your ability to date, on your ability to show up with your family and your friends and your kids. This type of work does not just make you a better romantic partner, or does not just help you attract healthier romantic partners. This is going to help you show up relationally in every area of your life with that confidence and worthiness and boundaries and knowing what to look for, knowing what to walk away from. So the ripple effect is huge. If you feel stuck in the shame, if you can't get past that bouncer, if you're looping with it's all my fault, it's never going to work, I'm always going to attract these people, please reach out to me. You don't have to stay stuck in that. I don't want you to wake up in 3 more years in the same exact place that you're in today, because I know firsthand how life-sucking it is to be in that place. You are not experiencing your life to the fullest. And so the sooner that you can step through this fear portal of I don't know what maybe this work is going to look like, but I know I need to do it, then the sooner that you can start living your life in a way that's not just surviving, in a way where you still aren't consumed by that person, or you still aren't consumed by fear because of that person. You deserve to have your life back. So please reach out to me. I have an intro session that I offer. This intro session is free. The link is in the show notes. You can schedule on my calendar. It's a time for me to really understand where you are, what you're struggling with, and then give you information about my program that can help you to actualize the change that you want to have. So that link to the intro session is in the show notes. Please, please, please do yourself and your future self a favor and start doing this work now. Okay, and to end I always want to say the relationship. And to end the episode, we are going to pull an oracle card. So I was shuffling the deck. A card that came out is Lay It Down. Let me find Lay It Down in the book, and I will read to you what it says. You've been carrying your shit for too long. It's time to lay it down. What started as a simple, generous act of carrying someone else's load has snowballed into the boulder that weighs you down. Maybe you are so used to it that you think you love it, or it connects you to your identity, or that it was always yours to hold. Allow yourself to remember that the burden you bear is no longer serving you. Lay it down. Let it roll away. You might even miss it initially, or look around for it. Lay it down. Feel the relief as you step forward in lightness and freedom, knowing that you only need to carry what you are willing to hold. Couldn't have said it better myself. Receive that message. Acknowledge what it is that you want to lay down. Go to the show notes, schedule that intro session. So until I see you for that session, or I see you in the next episode, please remember that you are not alone.